una vez más
Hello,
por
everyone. Welcome once again, and thank you so much
hoy
for participating in our webinar
la
cycle.
presentación de nuestro
Today, we will
proyecto
be with our partners from WorkWithPlus, and the webinar that we will have today is called Release the Power of AI with WorkWithPlus. And it's going to be Sophia who will be telling us
de
about
nuestra
this, and she works at
queremos recordarles
WorkWithPlus.
que
We would
este
also like to
curso
remind you that
está
this webinar has a
simultáneamente
simultaneous interpretation into
y en inglés,
Portuguese and
el
English.
cual
So
deben
if you want to choose
elegir
that, you have to click on the
concretamente
interpretation
su
icon in the bottom part of your screen and
preferencia.
choose your language of
Esta como
preference.
de siempre
We will approach it as
daremos
usual. We'll have the
la
presentation at the
inicio
beginning, and that will
de
be
Sofía
Sophia, and then
y
after that, we will have a
preguntas
Q&A
y
session.
respuestas.
So without further ado, Sophia, the floor is
Adelante,
yours.
Sofía.
Buenísimo. Bueno,
Thank you
muchas
so
gracias,
much,
Aníbal.
Aníbal. Good
Gracias a
afternoon,
todos
good
por
morning, good
acompañarnos
evening,
en
everyone.
esta
Thank you so much for
oportunidad.
coming with to this
Estamos
webinar. And
hablando
as
del
Aníbal said,
proyecto de
we will be working and talking about this Work with Plus AI module. So we will be telling you about all the new
las
stuff
próximas
that's
versiones
coming
de
up
Work with
in
Plus.
the next Work
Y
with Plus versions.
con
As you
anterioridad te
know,
hago una
and this is
presentación
just
de
a
qué es Work with
very
Plus,
short introduction. Work with
¿vale?
Plus is a company that focuses
Básicamente
on
se trata de
boosting
conseguir
and
una mejor
enhancing
calidad.
the GeneXus
Nosotros
experience.
creemos que el
We
futuro
believe
pasa
that
por
software development has a low code future,
la
and we
plataforma
believe
ideal
that GeneXus is the
para
perfect
trabajar
platform
para
to
nuestros
face these
clientes
new tech
y
waves.
traerles
And we
beneficios
also know that we can add some value through
automaticidad,
automation, productivity,
seguridad
and an
y
amazing
experiencia
UX.
de usuario. Y a eso
And that's what we
dedicamos
do
cada día.
every day.
Por
So we try to
plataforma
find ways
ustedes puedan
that will allow you
trabajar
to do
mejor
your work
e
better
incluso.
with GeneXus.
Hoy en
Nowadays,
día
Work with
WorkWithPlus
Plus is a
ofrece
platform that
un
is
motor
that
de
comprises 5 different
herramientas
tools. So you have
multimedia
Work with
y las
Plus for
respuestas
web, which is for web app development with amazing
disponibles en
experiences. Work
WorkWithPlus
with Plus for native
Mobile
mobile,
para generar
which is for
contenido
native
visual con
mobile
animaciones
applications, also with some
Europa,
amazing
WorkWithPlus
UX.
for
We
BI
have Work with
para
Plus for
inteligencia
BI,
artificial
for
con GeneXus
conversational business analytics
y
in
con GeneXus,
GeneXus generated applications.
WorkWithPlus for
Work
audit
with Plus for
para
audit
trabajar
to
con
work,
auditoría
of
de
course, with audits and
facturación
at that layer of
de
traceability on
resultados
your
y
records.
WorkWithPlus
And
for
Work with
Video
Plus for video
que
call that
permite
allows you
generar
to have,
consultas
of
en
course,
tiempo
video
real
call
para
in your
candidatos
GeneXus
o
generated
empresas.
applications.
Hoy
Nowadays,
en día
Work with Plus,
WorkWithPlus
as I
comercializa
said,
una
is
plataforma
the leading
para
platform
ofrecer
in the
herramientas
GeneXus community
multimedia
to
que
increase
aprovechan
fourfold your productivity
tecnología de
and
punta
deliver
con la seguridad
your
y
applications with the security,
confidencialidad
design, usability, and power that you need nowadays. Work with
WorkWithPlus
Plus and
es
the different
una plataforma para
platforms in a suite are sold in
países
more than 35 countries, and we have more than 5,000 users
utilizan
that
WorkWithPlus
work with
día a
Plus
día
on a daily
con
basis
seguridad
to
y
boost their
ofreciendo
productivity, which
servicios
makes us so proud
extraordinarios
having this
alrededor del
great
mundo.
community worldwide. And we
Además,
appreciate your support and that you're always coming to these events
en cada uno de
and
nuestros
what the different kind of
eventos
events and initiatives that we organize
que
on a
hacemos.
regular basis. That is extremely important
Para
to
nuestros liderazgos,
enrich the
WorkWithPlus
product and to help
cada
us
día
every
es
day
mejor
to deliver according to what
en
you need when you
desarrollar.
develop with GeneXus.
WorkWithPlus sigue
Work with Plus is
evolucionándose
always
siguiendo
evolving,
tres
and we follow
ejes
three
principales.
main guidelines. First and
Primero,
foremost,
cambiando precisamente
we
la
want to go
arquitectura
along
de la
with
plataforma para
our
ofrecer
community
más
ideas.
lugares dentro del
It's probably one
ecosistema
of the biggest
WorkWithPlus
inputs that we
y
have,
sentir
and that
parte
allow
de
us
esta
to
comunidad.
make this product grow and allow it to have and keep on adding more features. We've also evolved together with the very GeneXus evolution. Luckily, we are really used to being surprised by GeneXus every year, and Work with Plus, well, we do things very closely with them so that we can leverage all that power that we get from GeneXus. And of course, we have an innovation team and a development team that is always keeping an eye on the latest trends so that we can quickly incorporate them into Work with Plus and that you can take them to your projects. And if we talk about evolution, of course, generative AI has been a major line of work that has become very relevant over the last couple of months. That's why we have created a module that is specific so that you can have all the different features based on AI. Yeah, we're talking about the Work with Plus AI module that comprises all the different features that are AI powered. And we are trying to find different ways to leverage artificial intelligence to empower our end users, but also our development teams. Why do we think that this is such a big deal? Well, because needless to say, this revolution that started in late 2022, which became very consolidated last year, well, this year it's even bigger, and the numbers speak for themselves. There is a great interest by the different large organizations in incorporating AI in their projects and applications. And we want you to quickly be able to take this power to your users. At Work with Plus, we want the whole GeneXus community to have the chance to unlock all the AI potential. So the different companies and organizations, as we just saw a couple of minutes ago, are really willing to invest in AI, and this represents a great opportunity for all our development teams and software houses so that we can truly surprise our users and we can give them this new competitive edge that they want to have. And this is the great advantage of being positioned, technologically speaking, on GeneXus and having Work with Plus, because you, as usual, will keep on focusing on the business, knowing that we're going to be there to give you the latest trends and the latest technologies in a very productive and efficient way. So now I would like to tell you a bit more about this AI module, what you can do with it, what are the features, and how you can be surprised. I'd like to start by one feature that has already been released and that actually we introduced in a webinar in September last year, and that is already being used by our community, which is intent-based navigation. This is a new type of experience, which is based on the user's intent. So what they're going to say, our users, is they're going to give us an output that they're expecting, and we're going to show them that using AI in the best possible way. Good? So that you can better understand what I'm talking about, let me give you a couple of examples. So, for example, here we have an application that was generated using GeneXus and WorkWithPlus, and the user may write something like explore sales evolution. So this is going to take you to a dashboard that will help you visualize that information. And so the AI is going to directly take you to this dashboard in particular. But what happens, for instance, if I want to list the different accounts of a certain bank like Santander with a sum above 5,000? So AI is going to understand that the best way to see this information is to apply some filters on a list, and you can see that the bank's name and the amount are already there as instances, and you can keep on making this more granular, and you can add some other layers. For instance, now we have a list of the different accounts with which are above 5,000 plus minus 10%, which is giving you a bit of a leeway. So the user will easily write their intention, and it will be AI that will determine the best way and the best screen or layout so that you can actually get the output that you're expecting. This is another example where I'm writing different instances and different filters. And it's not just about lists. For instance, if I wanted to see which are the credit cards that are about to expire. So in this case, I have one card that meets all the criteria, and that takes me directly to that information, which is very detailed. So this intent-based search is not going to take me just to lists, but also to details, to the different screens that you may have in your applications menu. And this also gives you the possibility to program your own intentions, which is super interesting. And that will help you to get that extra flexibility so that you can find certain screens and you can choose what to do in each case. For instance, let's say that you have a wizard to create a purchase order. You can easily program it so that whenever the user wishes to create a purchase order, they go directly to this screen, as we just saw, with some instanced details. Yeah, so This feature is going to automatically resolve a number of issues, such as navigating to the different menu options, lists, details, and at the same time, it's giving you the chance to extend it, and therefore that's allowing you to codify intentions like this. Of course, what this does is it gives that feature some extra flexibility, and it allows you to customize it depending on a very specific case that you may have in your application. So as I was saying, this feature has been available since August last year, August 2023, and it was released in our WorkWithPlus version 15 upgrade 2. So those of you that are using the latest WorkWithPlus versions can totally use it. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to recognize these intentions that I was mentioning, right? Going to different menu options, inserting, updating, deleting. And this is something that we didn't see in the video, but it's completely plausible. I mean, if you write something like create a new client, a new customer, that will also take you to the transaction with the corresponding mode. You can go to different lists and have different filters. You can see records details, and that will give you the flexibility, as I said earlier, to code your own intentions. And this is very intuitive. It's very seamless, and you're just using a GeneXus process. Yeah, so this is a feature that is already there, that perhaps many of you are using, and that most certainly will change the way in which users navigate and use the system. And even though it is a very powerful feature, and as I said, it will allow you to fundamentally change the way that we navigate our systems, WorkWithPlus wanted to go further. Yeah, so we kept on thinking of different ways in which we can keep on empowering our end users, that we can give them all that power that AI has to give you through GeneXus and WorkWithPlus. And a clear trend that we have observed nowadays is the use of AI assistants that will help the end users to do their daily tasks. For this, we created a new feature that allows end users to answer different questions or queries using data that is stored in your knowledge bases, in your KBs. And this is a feature that is on top of that intent-based feature, and this is going to be released in a couple of weeks, and I will tell you more details about it later. But what I would like to do now is to show you how this looks like in real life, so that you can see the full power of it. This is a kind of chat, like an assistant that you have within your application, so it's embedded, and the different users using natural human language can write questions about the details, the data, and the different entities that appear in your KB. So, for instance, here I'm asking what projects Manuel was in charge of, or Manuel worked with, and you will see that unlike the intent-based query that was going to take you to a screen where you have that list of projects and it was going to filter it using the name Manuel, that information is now available on the chat screen, and you don't need to necessarily go to another screen, yeah? And this is specifically so that users can ask different questions and they can keep on working with their everyday operations, that they don't need to stop whatever they're doing just to check some information. So if you want to go to the AI list, of course you can do that, and you can ask the AI to help you in this intent-based fashion, and it will take you directly to that dashboard or screen. But in the meantime, you can just see all that information directly on the chat. So I say, for example, that now I want to see the different projects in a pie chart, and that is deployed in the form of a pie chart. Yeah. So no one ever wrote a single line of code to show this pie chart. In the KB, you don't have a query object, you don't have an SDT, you have nothing that will imply that you could get this this chart. Yeah, no developers involved. No one ever thought about this. This is just a query that the end user made, and without needing the development team to intervene in any way, the AI will directly help you visualize the data in this form. And this is where you can take your creativity and imagination to the next level. Because let's say that now you say that you want to see a chart with evolution over time, depending on the project over time that Manuel projects in which Manuel was involved, and that's giving you like this kind of graph, this kind of plot. But you can keep on adding more and more layers. So now you want to see, for example, the evolution over time of the price and real cost of the different projects. So now you want to have two different lines in this plot, and that is seamlessly done, as you can see. So sky's the limit. Let's keep on playing around with this. So let's say that now I want to see a graph with the price and the total cost of the different projects for each status. And that is going to show you that information depending on the status of each project. So, of course, we were using English in our queries, but I'm going to write something in Spanish. Yeah, I want to see the same data, but I want to have a bar chart instead. And that could have been in Portuguese or any other language for that matter, because we know that this is one of the greatest advantages of AI, that you can just work with it in any kind of language. So here I'm asking those for those data, and there you go. And what's interesting about this is that you can save these queries in a dashboard. So users will be playing around with the different questions that they ask. And we believe that in many cases, they can come up with a very interesting prompt that could be really useful in their everyday business. So instead of having to write that question, that prompt every single time that you want to have access to those data, what they can do is they can store that in a dashboard, as we're doing now, and they can call it whatever. They can put a name to it. And that dashboard is going to be a new work panel that is going to be in your KB, where you're going to have the different prompts and queries that the users made up until that moment. So this assistant, this co-pilot, is going to help you come up with these queries or indicators that might be relevant for your everyday operations. So let's keep on exploring this. I'm asking in this case who had the most expensive project. And you will see that up until now, the information was shown in charts or graphs, but now it answered in natural language. That is because in each case, the AI will try to find the best way to display the information that you have requested. And in previous cases, it deemed that the best way to show that information was using a certain chart or graph. But now, considering that we're talking about one single project, it is directly writing it in natural language. It's a text answer, and it's saying that the most expensive project was the site creation project managed by Manuel Joaquin with a price of, and it gives you the price. Yeah, so I can keep on delving into this, and now I'm going to ask, for example, what is the second most expensive project, and it will also deploy that information in natural language. Now I want to know about the cheapest, same thing, and now I'm using Spanish, and I get the answer in Spanish and natural language. But now, okay, so those three projects that you've just mentioned, I want to see those in the form of a table where you have the name of the project, the person in charge, and their cost, and it's going to deploy that information. When that when that has a table format, if you want, you can export that to Excel if you wanted, which is great. And that is the same as the intent-based case. So as I was saying, the complexity of the different questions will depend on the imagination of our end users, and of course on the data model, the entities and the relations that we have. So now, for instance, I want to have a, a question that is slightly more complex, which is a comparative between how many people were born before the year 2000 uh, and how many between 2000 and 2010, and how many people were born after 2010, which is um, a very cumbersome text, a very cumbersome question, and it doesn't really matter. It's going to deploy those data anyway, and now I want to have gender layers, so I want to have women and men for each category, and we can keep on delving into this, and we can keep on adding more layers of complexity as much as we need. Now, for example, I want to have the overall proportion of women and men, and that is giving me a pie chart because it believes that it's the best way in which you can see that kind of information, proportions that is. So this is in a nutshell the idea that we have an assistant that is going to help us to overcome the different queries and questions that otherwise would take us a lot of time on a daily basis if we were to do that manually, go into the different dashboards and screens, adding the filters, needless to say, generating all the different graphs and pies and charts, which again, I insist, no one did that. No one had to uh, design or create all those different charts. I was saying that that it will always try to find the best way to display the information. So we saw charts and graphs and natural language. And in this case, for example, I said, how many open projects do we have? And here AI understands that this could be a good KPI that you should always have readily available on hand. And that's why it's showing me that information in that format, in this KPI format. That is great so that you can save it in a dashboard that will also be visually appealing. Now I'm asking it to take me to the screen so that I can work with the different projects, and it's doing exactly that. And here I have a list, as I would usually do. And then, of course, all the intentions that I mentioned before, you can see that in detail. For example, now we're going to take a look at the most expensive project, and all those capabilities that you had in intent-based navigation. Now you also have that with the assistant. So in summary, this is a new feature that we are adding to the WorkWithPlus AI module. It is just like the case of intent-based navigation. It's powered by GeneXus Enterprise AI, and I'm going to tell you a bit more about that. And well, it has all the things that we saw before regarding intent-based navigation. It also gives you the possibility of having dynamic charts, lists, KPIs. You can export to Excel. Oh, something that I didn't show you, but you can also do is you can share your queries with other users of the application. So you can integrate with the different notification modules. You can save the queries to the dashboard, and that dashboard is automatically generated with all those queries. The release date is going to be for our upgrade number 3, and it's going to be the next version, which will be released in late May. And of course, this is not magic. It's WorkWithPlus, and we do things in a way that you know really well. So, of course, everything has to be 100% automated. If you activate the AI module in your design system wizard, you will have all the features that we have just seen automatically. I know that it may be hard to believe, but trust me, if you know WorkWithPlus, that this is the case, and you will not have to write a single line of code, zero. And that's why we believe that this is such a great opportunity so that you can incorporate it very, very quickly in your applications. Now, how do we do this? The key here is the semantic model that we use. WorkWithPlus generates based on all the information that we have in the KB, that is entities, filters, attributes, the very security configuration. It's generating information on the KB or the project that we call semantic model. These metadata, the semantic model, will be sent together with the user's request to some AI, and that is going to give it the exact context so that the AI can find the best way to answer that query, to answer to that intent shown by the user. The AI will give you the best answer back for this request, and WorkWithPlus will present it, whether that is taking you to a certain screen, which could be a plot or a chart or a KPI, and so on. This interaction that is happening between the models and the AI is happening through GeneXus Enterprise AI. I'm guessing that you all know, regardless of where you are in the world, that Enterprise AI is a GeneXus product that allows you to enable all the interaction with the AI, and it's very powerful. If you haven't given it a try, I would really advise you to take a look at it. We had a webinar last week with Eugenio, and he was presenting many of the different features that Enterprise AI by GeneXus has to offer. And we use a little bit of that. We use a part of GeneXus Enterprise AI to create and allow all the interactions between the different models. So this is how it works. And this is how we do this magic, which is very transparent. So you need to worry about nothing. I'm guessing that many of you, and this is because it's a question that I usually get whenever I talk about AI, are worried or concerned about security and privacy. And we have two key aspects in this regard. As I said, we are using GeneXus Enterprise AI, so all the interactions with the models happen through GeneXus API, Enterprise AI, and that is done through APIs. So we're absolutely sure that our data are not being used to retrain the models, but also at the applications level, we are integrated with GAM when it comes to the different permits that you have and restrictions that you may have. This means that all the current security configuration that you have in place now can be easily reused for all your work that you do using AI. For instance, if you have certain users that should not have access to certain screens, well, those definitions that you've already put in place will also be applicable to intent-based navigation or the AI assistant. And this definition is extended to different attributes. For example, I may have access to a project dashboard, but you know that with WorkWithPlus, you can define permits for attributes. So maybe you can see the projects, but you cannot see the cost of such projects. So the very definitions that you're using in that case will apply to these AI-based navigations. To show you a very specific example, this is me accessing an application with the F Herrera user, and I'm going to ask it to give me a list of all the open projects, and that is going to deploy the list. Now, if I log out and now I use the S Mayolo user, I'm going to ask it the same question exactly to the same application. And as you can see there, it says that I currently do not have access to the list of open projects. And that's even recommending that I should go to this screen and I'll say yes, and it's not taking me anyway. So what's the difference between one user and the other? The GAM definitions that you have. The first user has a manager's role, and that role grants you access to see, for example, the list of projects, and that's why it can easily find that information. But in the case of the latter, it doesn't have such permits, and therefore you can't see that information. So this is probably what you have already, but you can clearly define your own permits for the assistant and for intent-based navigation. And as I said, you can even do that at attribute level, which means that a user can see the list of projects, but maybe some information, some details will not be visible to them. Of course, you may be wondering how you can use this and what you need to pay to use this AI module. The first thing you need to have is an active WorkWithPlus for Web license. Those of you that have some kind of license which is updated, you will be able to use it. It's even included in the trial license. And as we said, we're using GeneXus Enterprise AI, which means that you're going to have to pay for GeneXus Enterprise AI. For this, GeneXus has defined a series of plans for GeneXus Enterprise AI that will allow you to use exclusively these features that we have in WorkWithPlus. As you can see, there is a free version that you can use in the development environment. So if you have an active WorkWithPlus for Web license, you have no excuses and you can give this a try in your development absolutely for free. And then when we are in production, you will have to choose one of these two GeneXus Enterprise AI plans. And the difference is depending on the number of requests that you can make on a daily basis. Yeah. So you can choose the plan directly on GeneXus's web, and I'm going to share the link with you in a minute. You just select the plan, you write your payment details, and that's going to give you a token that then you just need to use it to get a WorkWithPlus permit, and that's it. And you're using the whole thing, and you have no excuses. We have all the mechanisms so that you can give this a try for free. So any WorkWithPlus user can start using this today. So in summary, intent-based navigation, it's available. Anyone can use it. If you have WorkWithPlus, you just need version 15 upgrade 2. And as we said, and as we saw, you have no excuses, not even a pricing level. The other feature, the Ask the AI Assistant feature, that's going to be released with upgrade 3 in late May. And of course, this webinar is about AI, but I want to just take advantage of having everyone in the room and just, I'd love to tell you about some of the other features that we will release with this upgrade number 3. Needless to say, the assistant is the star of the whole thing, but of course we have other features that are coming with this upgrade, and I'll just briefly mention 4 to you. One of you is dynamic sections, which is a feature that resulted from the evolution of our dynamic form module that allows you to, in a transaction, add attributes and fields dynamically. So for example, we know that this transaction this company transaction has attributes such as logo, size, ID, etc. But in runtime, through the dynamic sessions, you can add new attributes, and it's going to be very transparent for users. So it's amazing. Another feature is dynamic validations. This allows us also in runtime to define validations, and we don't need to have hard-coded values in the code. For example, if I have a rule that is telling me that a total cannot be above a certain figure, well, that figure does not need to be predefined in the rule, but you can do so dynamically so that, for instance, it will change depending on the company. So if you have a multi-tenant application, you can allow each company to have their own definitions and their own values, which is something that together with dynamic sessions will give your work with transactions a lot of power. And These validations, the work experience is going to be just like with any other rule that you have defined in your transaction. So we are giving our end users a lot of power and we're making our transactions very dynamic. We're also going to include a new calendar template. So this is for event management. And there is a new design system in the collection in the design system wizard. So those of you that want to use Unanimo, you can just choose Unanimo in the design system wizard, and it will give you this design with all the power and all the resources that you usually get with WorkWithPlus. So the different filters and column selectors and paging and so on and so forth. Yeah, so all that stuff that you know really well. For those of you that want to use Unanimo, that's joining our design systems collection that we have in WorkWithPlus. So in summary, this upgrade 3 is coming with a lot of new stuff. These are the main novelties, but of course there will be more. You will have the assistants, dynamic validations, the calendar, Unanimo, and other features. Yeah, so I would love you to join our WhatsApp channel, which we released. We launched it a couple of weeks ago, and the idea is to be closer to you and to point you in the direction of very exclusive content, and that you're the first people to learn about the latest news. So if you want to be the first to know when this version is going to be released, I'll give you a few seconds so that you can scan the QR code on the screen and you can just join that channel because trust me, it's a very interesting means to stay in touch, to be close to you, and to give you content super fast, and that is always readily available. Okay, now I'm going to close this section, and I'm coming back to the AI world. Just to wrap up, I'd like to invite you all, those of you that want to know more about this module, to access workwithplus.com/AI. There you will find the different features. You can have access to the different GeneXus plans. You will find our pricings. And those of you that want to, at the end, will find a form that you need to fill in to join the beta program or request a demo if you want to take a closer look. If you want to just have that conversation with us of how you could be incorporating this feature in your KBs, well, register and we will be reaching out to either have a meeting and work through a demo or just we will be adding you to our beta program. Yeah. And this is just scratching the surface. The idea is to keep on surprising you in the next couple of months because our mission is to combine efforts with GeneXus to become global leaders in the low-code world. So that is our mission. That's what we want to do. And let me invite you to explore all this power by yourselves, download the versions, give them a try, get your hands dirty, and of course, looking forward to your feedback and suggestions. Thank you very much. And now, well, let's have the Q&A session. Thank you so much, Sophia. An amazing presentation. We have at least a dozen questions, so let's get started. Okay. We had a couple coming in during the presentation. Javier Espinosa is asking us the GeneXus version that you need. Okay, that is GeneXus 18. That's a version. Okay, we have Gabriel Medina, and he is practicing his English, and he wrote in English, and he says, to use AI, do we need to connect to our Microsoft Copilot, OpenAI, ChatGPT account, or is it free? We always do that through GeneXus Enterprise AI. That is where you're going to have the interaction with the model. So for that, you need to get one of these plans that I mentioned regarding Enterprise AI, GeneXus Enterprise AI. So the interaction with the AI is always done through GeneXus Enterprise AI. You choose a plan, the plan of your preference, and you can, as I said, give it a try for free to test it in your KBs and models. Okay, very good. So we're also answering a question by Jeff Randolph that was asking us is if these capacities are available with GeneXus Enterprise AI. Yeah, well, you have the free version, which you can use exclusively in the development environment. As a matter of fact, you're going to get a warning pop-up that is going to tell you that you're using the free version. But if you want to move that into production, you need to get one of the plans. Very good. Let's move on. Is it necessary to have an LLM account by some provider, or just GeneXus Enterprise AI is enough? It's enough. It's actually one of the advantages of having GeneXus Enterprise AI, that it's going to give you all of that. Yeah, so just you give it a try for free, and when you want to buy one of the plans, it's going to generate a token, which is going to incorporate, is going to be incorporated in WorkWithPlus. Okay, very good. Miguel Solano is asking us, can we be absolutely certain that the responses to the queries are 100% reliable? That's a great question. Miguel, we are working with AI, so as you know, it's not deterministic. But we've been doing some massive work, and this is also part of what we offer when using these features. We've been working a lot on prompts, yeah? So we are working on how to create those prompts, and this is part of the knowledge that we have generated as soon as we started working with these features of how you can have the best prompts so that you can prevent the AI from hallucinating and giving you information that you don't believe will be 100% accurate. I think that we are on the right track, but needless to say, there is a lot of work to be done. And needless to say, end users need to understand that this is AI, that it's not deterministic. But well, we've walked a few miles already, and we have, in a way, maximized the reliability of the information. And this is part of what we offer, right? So all this prompting work that we've been doing for the last couple of months, and we've been refining it and fine-tuning it so that you can have really good answers. Okay, good. We have a question by Junior Kybro. He's saying, in a multi-company software, can you define fixed filters? Okay, I don't know if that is referring to the assistant. Usually all the interactions with the assistant are natural language, so I don't know exactly what it's talking about with those fixed filters, but Junior, you can send us an email and you can walk me through the details of your question. Okay, we have another attendee that is asking us, this assistant, is it going to the database, or in what instance is it getting the data from? Yes, it's real-time information from the database. You don't have to preload the data. It's directly against the database. Okay. Another one. For the presented feature, do you need to have the KB's attributes? And if so, how would you work out the issue of distributed KBs? Okay, yeah, the entities and the attributes and the transactions need to be defined in the KB. We can take a look at the specific case. I'm guessing that with data views, you could reverse engineer it to get the transactions in your KB, but you can write an email to me, or you can just fill in the form on the website and we can go through it in further detail. Okay, we have another one. It says, I'd like to ask what would be a good practice so that the AI understands the business rules of the systems, or that it will make it easier for the user when it's asking those queries. What information should the metadata have in our KB metadata have to make these queries more efficient? Okay, so you can do that by working with the different names of the attributes and the descriptions. We even have some specific properties to give the AI more context, because this is all about giving it more context, or as much context and the best content that you can. So the more organized you are when you're defining your transactions and your attributes and so on, the better. you have some specific WorkWithPlus properties to add some extra information, and we could also give you our prompt. So you have different mechanisms to give the AI more context, and it's a very good question because it's all about that, right? Of giving it as much context as possible, which we already do with the information that we have in our KBs. But the more additional information that you can give it, the more reliable the answer is going to be. Alba is asking us the queries in a multi-tenant application given by intent, which are intent-based. They will not give you information by another tenant, right? Yes, absolutely, Alba. That's a great question. If you have defined a multi-tenant application and you know that in WorkWithPlus we have multi-tenant modules that work a lot in this sense, what this does is that each AI module is going to have all the information filtered by tenant. If you're working with the multi-tenant WorkWithPlus tenant module, right? Great. Guido is asking us about the monthly price for WorkWithPlus, Web Mobile, and GeneXus AI. Guido, please send me an email to that email that you see on the screen, and I'll give you the information. We saw the prices for GeneXus Enterprise AI, but I can give you more details about the licensing model for WorkWithPlus. So just send me a message or give me your contact numbers, and I'll reach out. Hiram is asking, the AI use is subject to being used exclusively if you work with GAM in your system? No, not at all. I was showing you that interaction with GAM because I think that it's something that most systems have, and it's actually advisable that you have GAM in your systems, and the integration is done. But if you don't have GAM, you can still use it in a way. Okay. You said this already in your presentation, and it says, can the AI interact with GAM, for example, to create a role to register products? Yeah, Julio, by default, I think that we're not doing it nowadays. So we're not working with the GAM entities, but it could be easily extended. Agustin is asking us, if we have a KB that is installed in several clients, when you move to production, do you need to get a plan for each client? Great question, Agustin. That is going to depend on your business model. Yeah, I mean, you could be sharing the same token and the same plan with your different companies, but what's important is that they will all be using the same limit in the number of requests. So if you're under that daily limit, that's fine. Yeah, you can share the plan. It's going to mainly depend on the use that each company and each user makes of the number of requests. I'm imagining that each company will have their own plan, thinking of the number of requests, but if they're not enough, I mean, you can get another plan. Julio is saying the premium subscription is per project, or can I have the same? Okay, so the same question, right? Very good. Danielle Nardin is saying, ¿tenés un plan como parte de las evoluciones en la gestión de datos dinámicos en un ambiente multitenant para dar la posibilidad de gestionar de forma dinámica y habilitar y deshabilitar los cambios y la naturaleza obligatoria de dichos campos? Okay, Danielle, I think that this is what we said when I mentioned the dynamic sections part. Users using multi-tenant applications, they can define their own attributes, and that gives you more dynamism in your attributes and validations. So maybe what you can do is you can send me an email, or you can send an email to support, and we can take a look at your case in particular. Excellent. Gonzalo Lupi is saying, how should you define and reinforce the keywords, attributes, entities, etc., so that the AI can really understand what we are asking it? Okay, I think I answered it earlier. You have different properties to do this. You can even customize your prompts. So yeah, we can help you. The series Alejandro is asking, if I have an almost finished KB and I need to incorporate the AI modules. Can I do it in an easy way without having to run a wizard, or do you necessarily have to do it with the wizard? Okay, yes, you have to do it through the wizard, but that is simple. So when you do this, this is going to import the AI module and it's going to just modify those necessary objects, such as, for example, the master page, so that you can have the chat visible, and that's it. Yeah. So you activate this feature, and this applies to any Work with Plus feature. You choose the feature of your preference, and when you click on finish, you have to click on the option that is import only necessary objects. You have one that is import all, and the other one is import only necessary objects, and that is going to just import those objects that are necessary to that feature. Yeah. But if you have any questions, again, you can send us an email and we can do it together through TeamViewer so that you don't have any issues. But the question is great. I mean, you can do that with KBs that are practically finished. This is a property that you can enable really easily. So if that is your situation and you're afraid of running the wizard, just send us an email and we can do it together. But don't miss the chance, okay? Fantastic. I have a question by Leandro Peña, which says, is there any way in which you can have the data filtered by the user? For instance, when the salesperson wants to get the queries just of his or her own account. Yeah, it's kind of like a multi-tenant approach, but yeah, you can totally do that. Okay, here I have another a question that has been asked before, but I think it's interesting anyway. Do I need to get GeneXus Enterprise AI, or is the Work with Plus plan enough? No, you need to have the Work with Plus license and you need to pick one of the GeneXus Enterprise AI plans. And that is it. You need to do nothing else. Yeah, so the Work with Plus license and the Pro or Premium plan that I showed you for GeneXus Enterprise AI. It's not that after that you need to get something extra. Yeah, that is just that itself is enough. Agustin says if we have transaction with an invoice CT and the attribute which represents the value of the sale for each invoice per client. The user is asking the assistant, the AI assistant, the total value of sales per month. How will GeneXus Enterprise AI associate that attribute to the sales value? Well, that's going to depend on the description of that attribute, right? So if both attributes say total and they say exactly the same and we give it no additional information, then maybe AI will give you either one or the other. Yeah. So what would be ideal is to explain that difference between those attributes. So clearly there is some difference, and when you're describing that attribute, you need to say, okay, this total corresponds to this total sum without taxes and the other one with taxes. So all of that is context and additional information that you're providing the AI with. You need to think as if you were having, as if you were asking something to ChatGPT, right? The more information, the more context you provide it with, the more accurate and reliable the answer is going to be. Great. Jorge is asking, the process of moving the changes to production, does it contemplate not affecting the queries that have already been generated? Do you need to have any other considerations? I think that Jorge is referring to the dashboard queries. Yes, those are saved, so it's just about passing that information. That's it. Javier is asking us the results that are sent to the dashboard. When you request them, does that count as accessing the AI service by GeneXus, or is it just text interpretation? No, it is a query. It's not something static. So you do your query, you make your query, yeah, and you save that in the dashboard and you access that tomorrow. that query is going to give you updated data. So of course it needs to be run again, let's say. Okay, very good. Gonzalo Lupi is asking us, if, for instance, we ask about the cost of a project, do we need to have one attribute that is literally called cost? That's a great question, Gonzalo. No, not necessarily. A typical case is if I have a transaction that is person and I say create person, it's going to take me to that screen. But if I say, for example, create an individual, it's also going to take me there. And if I say create a subject, it's also going to take me there. And that is what's so powerful about AI, that it can find and identify synonyms, different languages, similar ideas. So of course you need to have an attribute that will be identifiable through that through those synonyms. And the properties and the prompts can be refined, and that will always yield better results. In multi-tenant systems using WorkWithPlus, is the user's company filtered? That's a question by Edson. Yes, Edson, we are absolutely integrated with the multi-tenant module. Very good. Aldo is asking, hello, we have a KB which migrated to GeneXus 18 from GeneXus 9, and the attributes names are not that descriptive. How do you think it would behave when asking those queries? Well, probably not as good as you would expect. I mean, if the names are not very descriptive, this is exactly what we said, right? You're not giving it as much context as we should. And of course, I mean, you can either change the descriptions or you can give it additional context. And that's very interesting. And you can send us an email and we can give you a few tips as to how to do it. But you will need to give it some additional information, because if the information that you have nowadays is not descriptive enough, then chances are that the answer that you're going to get is not going to be as reliable as you would hope. Andres is asking us, if we ask it to run a procedure and we give it the name and entry data, would it run? Yes, when you're programming your own intentions, you could have something like that. It's usually more designed towards screens, but it could definitely be procedures. Same thing, send us an email and we'll take a look at it. Another attendee has asked, the values that you use to give parameters to a rule and not just working with hard code. Is that parameters that can be modified by the end users, or is it just a WorkWithPlus property? No, they are totally modifiable by the end users. That's the whole point of this feature, that they can modify it and everything will be dynamic so that end users can change it. Very good. Alvaro is asking us, how do you manage exceptions? That is, if I request a specific KPI and the denominator is 0, no, it's going to give you a friendly error message. It's going to say, I was unable to resolve this. It's not going to trash the system. Javier is asking, can you apply a retrieval augmented generation to the information of which the assistant is getting the information from? Okay, good question. We're not doing that by default today, but you do have some mechanisms to extend it, and we could definitely get there. If you have any specific ideas, I think it would be really interesting. So send us an email and we can take a look at it together, and we can just see how you could specifically do that. For now, we haven't done it because we haven't thought that it was so necessary, but yeah, send us an email. Okay, very good. Mario is asking us, the queries on the database, can they be configured to be done on the reading base? Aurora keeps a parallel database in real time. In that way, you wouldn't be affecting the primary database for reading and recording. Yeah, this is something that I discussed with Mario a while ago. It's not something that we have by default, but it's definitely on the roadmap. So we are planning to do it. Okay, another question that says, have you tested using massive tables, massive charts with more than 50 or 100,000 uh, entries? Is it optimal? Well, we're in the process of uh, trying this with different KBs, and the results have been good so far. Also, send me an email if you have a specific case that you'd like to look into, and we can go through it together. We're exactly at that point of testing different projects of different sizes, so perhaps it could be very interesting, and we can take a look at it together. Very good. Javier Espinosa is asking us if it is integrated with GX Flow. I can't see the hook where it would connect, but we can take a look at it. Maybe he has some particular idea, and we can totally look into it. I don't know if he meant regarding uh, the data or the work with uh, GX Flows itself. So this is the first version of the feature, and of course, everything that you're, all these things that you're telling us are going to be uh, a part of the next things that we want to do. So your feedback is more than welcome. Diego is saying congrats on the presentation, impressive. And he says, in the case that we have the same KB in different clients, can you measure the number of interactions that each of our clients is having? Yes, we're not doing that by default nowadays, but we could totally do that. Yeah, I don't think it would be too hard. Okay, another question. He says, when you have a multi-tenant database, can you filter queries for for a specific company ID? Yes, that has been figured out for the multi-tenant case. So yeah. Okay, just a few more because we have so many questions, but we have run out of time. Can you define the number of queries per application user? Aldo, it's not something that we have foreseen. We were not thinking about limiting that, but I'm guessing that it wouldn't be too hard to do. So it's not something that we have done that comes out of the box, but we could look into it. Very good. Edgardo says, can you configure a GeneXus KB to use GeneXus Enterprise AI, or you just take the subscription and you develop with WorkWithPlus? Okay, very good. To use these features, you need to get one of the GeneXus Enterprise AI plans that will exclusively allow you to use these WorkWithPlus resources. If you want to get the full power of GeneXus Enterprise AI, which is huge, and I would really advise you to take a look at it, you need to add to get another plan. But to use the WorkWithPlus features, these plans that I mentioned are just enough, and you can try it for free. So you just download WorkWithPlus, you choose your module, F5, and you don't need to do anything else. Very good. Another question, which I think you already answered, in a multi-tenant database. If you want to charge per query, how does the AI um, register each query per company ID? Yeah, it's what I just said, right? If that we should take a look at how to keep track of the queries per company. I don't think it would be too complex to work it out. We don't have that in the current version as it is, but I can see that this is something that will be required. So I think that it's going to be added very soon. Okay, we have so many more questions, but we have run out of time. Sophia, you were right. Um, we were going to have so many questions that I will send you so that you can answer to each person by email. To the rest of you, thank you so much for participating in this webinar cycle, and we'll be seeing each other next time around. Thank you so much, and see you.